Ejiro stood before the tall mirror in her bedroom, her hands smoothing over a silk blouse she hadn't worn in months. Outside, the vibrant hum of Lagos moved at its usual frantic pace. But inside the apartment, everything felt stagnant. She was a woman who moved markets and managed millions. Yet today, the simple act of choosing a pair of shoes felt like wading through deep, dark water. Maro entered the room, his face bright with a smile that didn't quite reach Ejiro's heart. He held his briefcase, polished and ready. The bank called again, Ejiro. They are eager for their star analyst to return, he said, setting the bag down. He looked at her with a mix of pride and a growing restless confusion, unable to see the shadow that had taken up residence in her eyes. From the nursery, a soft cry broke the silence. Ejiro walked to the crib and looked down at Efe. He was small and perfect, a miracle wrapped in a patterned cloth. She reached out a finger to touch his cheek, waiting for the surge of maternal electricity she had been promised by every auntie and book. Instead, she felt a hollow, aching distance, as if she were watching someone else's life through a window. Maro followed her in and gently scooped Efe into his arms, lifting the baby high. "Look at him, Ejiro. He has your spirit," Maro laughed, pressing his nose against the baby's. Efe let out a tiny melodic coo. Maro looked at his wife, expecting her to join the moment, but the gap between them felt wider than the ocean. Later that afternoon, Mama Ejiro arrived, filling the kitchen with the scent of spices and loud, well-meaning commands. She set a heavy pot on the stove and looked at Ejiro with a sharp, discerning eye. "In our time, we didn't have time to be tired," she said. "A mother's strength is the foundation of the home," she insisted, waving a wooden spoon. Ejiro sat at the table, the weight of the strong woman mantle feeling like lead on her shoulders. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long orange shadows across the city, Ejiro retreated to the balcony. The physical wounds of the birth had long since healed, but she felt a different kind of hemorrhaging. She was bleeding her joy, her confidence, and her sense of self into the humid night air, and no one seemed to have the bandages to stop it. Maro joined her on the balcony, his frustration finally bubbling to the surface. "I don't understand, Ejiro. We have the healthy son we prayed for. Your job is waiting. Why are you still in this dark place?" He reached out to touch her shoulder, but his touch felt like an intrusion rather than a comfort. The following morning, Ejiro found herself in a quiet office, far from the frantic energy of the bank. Dr. Kalu sat across from her, not with a ledger or a balance sheet, but with a kind, patient stillness. "The bleeding isn't always something you can see, Ejiro," the doctor said softly, "but that doesn't mean it isn't real, and it doesn't mean you have to heal alone." That evening, the house was quiet. Maro sat on the sofa, and for the first time, Ejiro sat beside him and didn't pull away. She spoke about the fog, the glass wall, and the terrifying silence where her happiness used to be. Maro didn't try to fix it with a joke or a plan. He simply listened, his hand finally finding hers in the dim light of the living room. Healing didn't come like a sudden tropical storm. It came like the slow, steady rise of the tide. Weeks later, Ejiro sat in the rocking chair with Efe. The fog hadn't vanished, but it was thinning. She looked at her son, And for the first time, she felt a spark of warmth that belonged truly to her. She was still Ejiro the banker, the wife, the mother, but most of all, she was a woman finding her way back to the light.